Cricketer turned commentator Michael Holding believes British society and its media are all talk and little action when it comes to championing equal rights for all, more specifically, the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, the West Indies fast bowling great was expressing his opinions to the Sport Gazette while reacting to the fact that some black players have decided not to kneel before the start of matches and the recent decision by some clubs, players, and former players like Arsenal great Thierry Henry to stop using social media totally until online abuse is effectively addressed. We're joined by the man himself, Michael Holding. Special good day to you, Mr. Holding.
Hi, Sean. How are things?
Fear to find. That's the best I can say. One of the main things that we are actually talking to you about, if not the only thing, is racism and the Black Lives Matter movement. What you said earlier last year brought about tears to many persons' eyes when you were on that broadcast. But when you're in the United Kingdom, do you experience racism any at all?
You always experience racism, Sean. As I've said before, and I keep on saying, a lot of times you just grimace and move on. I've been doing that for donkey's years in many countries. You put up with it, and sometimes, as the Bible says, you turn the other cheek. But I was given the opportunity by Sky to speak about it. And I decided, okay, I've been asked to speak about it, I'm going to speak about it. And I poured my soul out to let everybody know exactly what has been going on in this world. A lot of people have been victimized because of the color of their skin. It's about time people recognize that, because a lot of people don't believe it. But it's about time people recognize it and try and do something about it. Obviously, you're going to have some people not interested because their life is so nice and happy and cushy that they are fine. But it's about time that things change.
Has anything changed in the last year?
I think so. I think I've seen quite a few changes. It's going to take a long time doing Sean, but let me tell you a few things that I have seen. And when I just finished writing a book about racism, as a matter of fact, and I kind of stuck to USA and England because I am quite familiar with those two countries.
Right.
And the changes that I've seen in the USA, I haven't quite seen them taking place in England yet. For instance, a lot of huge corporations in the USA have put funds aside to start programs because they have recognized now, perhaps they recognized before, but there wasn't pressure to do anything about it. But they have recognized and are doing something about the prejudice that's so evident, the institutionalized racism, and money has been put aside for programs to help people of color in the USA. I haven't seen that quite happening yet in the UK. And as you know, all those things take money. You can't just keep on talking about it and expect it to happen. It takes money, and the big corporations have to get involved. And those are the changes that I've seen structurally. And I've also seen things in day-to-day life. Just today, a friend of mine sent me a WhatsApp message where a white North Carolina commissioner was fired because he refused to recognize a lady that was in a meeting with him by her name, not her name, but by her qualification. She's a doctor, and he kept on referring to her as by her first name or by Miss her last name, and she kept on saying, "Sir, I am doctor. I don't want to call name, but I am doctor whatever," and he refused to call her doctor, and he was fired. So I see changes. 10 years ago that wouldn't have happened. As a matter of fact, perhaps 3 years ago it wouldn't have happened.
When you see changes like this, how long do you think it will continue to make a greater impact on the society, especially the two countries you mentioned?
I expect to see it trickling along. I don't expect to see it rolling down a hill like a pebble rolling down a hill, because I still think that stone has edges and you have to keep on pushing it. It's not going to gather momentum just by itself. You have to keep on pushing that stone. Every time it comes on a flat area, you have to push it over that area again. So I expect to see changes, but I don't expect rapid changes, Sean. This thing been going on for over 400 years. The victimization and the dehumanization of black people. I don't even expect to see equality in my lifetime, but I expect to see the steps and the changes taking place that eventually get there.
One of the things, or one of the notion is kneeling before the game to show a protest or to stand with the blacks or the persons of different color or creed across the globe. Persons would say that it has watered down for some, but some persons still do it. Do you share that notion that it has been watered down?
I can see both sides of the coin with that, Sean. And I agree with some of the footballers who decided that they were going to stop kneeling. Because if all you are doing is kneeling, what's the point of just kneeling? If when you are kneeling, you see people are taking heed of what's going on, organizations, media, whoever is recognizing that something needs to be done and you see steps being taken, that is fine. The Footballer Federation just a couple days, I think it might have been Saturday to this Monday, Saturday, they decided that they were going to come off social media. All footballers in the UK as of this coming weekend, come off social media totally. Now that is action, because they are trying to tell the social media networks and the people who own them, listen, you're doing absolutely nothing about all this victimization that is going on and all this racism that is going on. We are sending a signal to you that yes, we want change and we want to see corporations and big money trying to make change. So Thierry Henry, if you remember, was the first big name as far as football is concerned, perhaps in the world, to say he was coming off social media because these social media networks are absolutely doing nothing about trying to make any change. And of course the Football Federation now is doing that, and I would hope every footballer, man and woman, because that's what the Football Association in England is trying to get, man and woman to just come off social media for 3-4 days and see if that makes an impact. Because you have to send a signal somewhere. But at the same time, now that you can see that people are taking it seriously, if you decide at one point that taking a knee meant nothing, if you see the signal being taken seriously, go back and start taking a knee again, because it has done something. And you want to keep the conversation going.
And that's the reason why the knee is important, if you look at it that way, of keeping it in front of persons' faces.
Sean. It's a very simple gesture. It's not difficult to do. I was watching some English football yesterday, and I was so pleased to see both teams go down and take a knee. They didn't even take a knee for a minute, just a few seconds, but the signal is there, the gesture is there. People who don't know anything about it, somebody coming on from Mars saw that, would have asked the question, what is that about? And they become aware.
But some of the players, though, maybe some are not taking it as serious, even those who are kneeling.
Well,
in terms of action, in terms of action.
Yeah, but you can't force somebody to do something that they don't want to do, Sean. And I would not try to force anybody to do anything. If you don't like supporting that project, fine, we just know where you stand. Simple as that. I was asked by a few organizations recently about the same taking a knee thing and what I would like to see people do. I said, listen, I can't tell you what I would like to see people do. I am not a policeman in where this thing is concerned. If you see something that's happening and you think you would want to support this movement, you take a knee. If you don't want to support the movement, fine. I am going to tell you that you must support the movement and take a knee. It's up to you. But when you don't, we know where you stand.
That is part one of a two-part interview done with the Rolls-Royce of fast bowling, Michael Holding. Stay tuned for part two to be released soon.